Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my very dear sisters. Inshallah, today we'll be talking about ayah number 3 and 4 of Surah Maidah. So let's inshallah start. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين ربي يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير آمين يا رب العالمين. So Alhamdulillah, we have covered so far ayah number 1 and 2. So let's talk about ayah number 3 and 4 today, inshallah. And before I go and start ayah number 2, I need and I want to remind all of us that this is a surah. It's called Surah Maidah, which is the tables full of different variety of food. And also the name of another name of surah that we came across last session was Suratul Halal wa Haram, meaning the things which are permissible and which are not permissible are mentioned in the surah, and they are made halal and haram, but none other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to remind ourselves, this is not the surah which is going to give us the license to decide. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already provided us with a list of. So we learned in ayah number 2 when we were covering that ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tuhillu sha'irullah, meaning in this ayah number 2, in this ayah you and we were able to go over few things about which we were made conscious to stay very smart about. Don't violate the sanctity, right? So now in ayah number 3, so this particular ayah number 2, this one was about the places, the times, yeah. And this one is about what are actually halal or haram in terms of food intake. Okay, so let's inshallah start. So hurrimat alaykum, it is made haram for you all by whom? By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So this is not any ordinary hukum. So this is coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Harama to made, it is made haram for you. What is made haram for you all? What is kum? Kum here refers to the believers, right? So now believers are given this command, and it's again coming in the Madani Surah, right? So this is the Surah of rules and regulations. So coming in Madani Surah, it is made haram for you. What is made haram? Al-maytah. So this is the dead animal. Okay, so now the list is coming. In the previous ayah, you learned that bahimatul anam, those ones are permissible except there were the few exceptions, right? So now those exceptions are actually opened up here. So what is al-mayta? The animal which is that died out of natural death, or it is the animal died through the accidental death, meaning by slipping or by falling sick, meaning they are not slaughtered properly. Okay, so anything which is not slaughtered properly, that comes in the category of al maita. Okay, and then comes what damu. So the word dam is actually a blood, right? So it's a liquid blood. Dami is actually to bleed. So if you see any blood, say which is in the flesh or it's around the bones, um, uh, in these animals, which are actually slaughtered properly, in that case it is not haram, but the actual when the blood is profusely flowing out of animal, that particular blood is not allowed. Okay, so this is not allowed. I want to remind you all about there are exception to this one. Okay, so there is a exception to this al-maita, right? An exception to waddam. So both of these have an exception. What are the exceptions? So this is actually according to hadith that there are two uh, that we are allowed to eat two dead animals. So two dead animals, and we are allowed to have two kinds of like flowing blood. So let's look at this one. So what are the two? According to hadith, we are allowed which two dead animals are these? So these are number one is the fish. Okay, so the fish is whether this is there is no way that we can slaughter the fish, right? You're not going to actually catch the fish when the fish is alive, and you're not going to find the neck and whatnot that we usually do with the slaughtering. There is a protocol for the slaughtering. The fish, even if the fish is floating dead on the surface of water, that is allowed. Okay, so that fish is allowed. And then comes the second one, which is called the locust. Okay, this is called the jarad, right? So locusts are the ones which the another animal which is again found dead. If that is dead, then that is totally allowed for us to consume that one. And again, these are the animals which are, if you found, if, like in the time of Arabs, these were the ones which are usually found. Just imagine in that very hot desert, you're finding the locust on the ground, right? So they are. This is how they like. Essentially, they are found baked on the desert, the hot desert land. So these two animals, fish and locust, they are allowed. And then comes the wadam. What kind of blood that we are allowed? In this comes like the spleen and the liver. Okay, so these two organs, they're full of blood, and these are the two type of bloods which are allowed. Okay, so then comes your next category of what is haram is lahmul khinzir. So what is lahmul khinzir? This is the flesh of the swine, meaning the pig, right? So whether the pig is slaughtered, whether you are finding that pig killed, any way, shape, or form, any ingredient that is also not allowed. Hurrimat alaykum, that is not allowed. Lahmul khanzir, it is not allowed. Why so? Because this is an animal, though it is the four-legged animals, though you may say, okay, this is also found in farm, but then the nature of this animal is such that the things that this animal can consume, it makes it not allowed for us to consume. Okay. Again, we are going to remind ourselves that when we say Bahimatul An'am, these are the animals which are the domesticated animals. So these are the cattles, or when you talk about the goat and you talk about the cow, these are the herbivores. These are not the animal predators, right? So these are the herbivores which we talk about. Well, the pig is not, right? The pig can actually, this animal can eat its own um, child, like kid too. So, or anything that comes its way, the pig can consume. So that is not allowed. And again, the reminder, whatever we eat has an effect on us, right? So you will notice when we look at the list of Bahimatul Anam, these are the animals which are very subdued and they are very gentle, right? So though there is a big goat that you may see when you're slaughtering an animal, but that goat is going to be very humble. It's not very aggressive and it's going to eat anyone up, right? So when we talk about lahmul khanzir, any shape or form, any ingredient, not allowed. Okay. And then as another list, another one, I should say, another one, wama, and whatever uhilla li ghayrillahi bih. The When we look at the word uhilla, the word is coming from the word ihlal, right? Halal is a crescent, meaning the moon. So when the crescent is sighted, when this moon is sighted, so what we do? What do we do? So there is an announcements made, right? So the announcements are made. So voices are raised. So ihlal is actually literally it means to raise voice or to make announcement, right? So what kind of announcement? The announcement of the one for whom the meat is being slaughtered. Okay, so in here we are meant it is mentioned لِغَيْرِ. So for other than the name of Allah. Okay, so other than the name of Allah. Why so? Because this is we need to remind ourselves that we these animals are actually the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So only entity who has a right to whose name should be called is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then comes the important part. Okay, so what if we are saying the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then along with that we say Nabi, the name of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or you may see Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu's name is being called, or Hassan Hussain, meaning any name other than Allah. Any name other than Allah means that you are associating partners with Allah. You are actually making someone compete with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is not allowed. Okay. So no matter how good the technique is, how good that Muslim is, if there is any name other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called for that before slaughtering that particular animal, that is also not allowed. Okay, because you know what we why when we slaughter, essentially we are honoring someone, right? So this is to honor someone, to be like appreciative of someone. So again, as I mentioned, this is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he should only be the one whose name is allowed and should be allowed to take their life, not anyone else, right? Okay, so then comes another list which is very interesting, and we need to find out the ways to remember, right? So we need to find out the ways to remember this list. And this is again coming from Al Maita. So this is again the elaboration of Al Maita, like the ones who are dead. How can they be dead? Okay, so there are ways of animal can die, right? Without being properly slaughtered. There are ways. The first one is wal munkhaniqah. Okay, so wal munkhaniqah. This is the first one. Khanq is to choke someone holding their neck. Okay, meaning you are essentially, this animal is literally choked to death. Okay, so that kind of animal not allowed. Again, this animal dies, and how do we this particular ways when they're essentially they're their breathing is compromised, right? So hanak is to literally choke someone. Just imagine that you are, should not be imagining, but you are like you can imagine someone choking someone else, right? So that type of animal not allowed. Then comes wal mawquza. Wakaza is a root letter, right? So this one, root letter is wakaza. Waqf is to literally hit with a fatal blow, right? So this is a hitting with a fatal blow, meaning you are either you are finding someone, killing the animal by punching them, right? You may see some crazy people do that, that they are hitting the animals with a stick so hard that the animal dies there and then, right? So that animal which is killed with the blunt force, that is not allowed. I want to remind you here, then if you are hunting, so there are protocols, there are the conditions for hunting and eating that animal too, right? So inshallah you'll be learning that too. So if suppose if you are actually hunting with an arrow which is not having, that doesn't have a sharp end. The arrow, you throw the arrow and the arrow is actually just hitting the animal. It hit so hard, the animal died there and then. Are you going to say this is the this animal you can eat? No, we cannot eat that animal. So that, because that animal actually died not because of the arrow piercing through the skin of that animal, right? This is a blunt throat on that animal, and that animal is not allowed. So mawquda, wakaza, not allowed. This one is not allowed. Then comes the one wal mutaraddiyah, right? So this one wal mutaraddiyah, radaya root letter. Radda is actually essentially to fall and die. Okay, so you are seeing there are animals just going across the edge of the mountain, and there is some, natural disaster, or the animal out of just by an accident, the animal fall and that animal dies, or it is pushed and by the other animal and the animal died. That animal is not allowed. It is reminding me of the Lion King. Subhanallah. I should not be going there, but just like something. Just imagine how those animals, the father of the so just going back on track, so radaya, so the animals which die by falling are not allowed. Okay, so then comes the next category, which is one nawtiyah. One nawtiyah. Natah, nat is actually a horn. These are the animals which are, these are the horns, like they are gored by the horn of another. Meaning, like, just imagine uh, the bullfight. So these are the these horn animals. I mean the bulls. They use their horns to essentially fight and to stab and to pierce and to kill the other one, right? So those animals which are died by who are gored by the horn of other animal, deeply injured and pierced, that is not allowed. So these are all the examples of Maita, right? So you're learning about, these are all the Maita essentially, right? So then is another list coming, which is Wama, again not the list category, Wama, and whatever Akalas Subur. Okay, so the one which is eaten by Saba, right? So what is Saba? These are the predatory animals which hunt others to eat. Suppose like comes under Saba is the lion, or the foxes, or the cheetahs, or it can be a dog or the cat or a wolf, right? So you see there is just imagine that your cat is actually holding a chicken in the mouth, and that particular chicken is dead. So then the question is, can I eat that chicken? No, because that cat actually hunted that chicken for its own self, right? So that cat was, that cat ate that chicken for its own self. So we are not allowed to eat that one. Okay. Okay. So except now here is the exception coming for this one. Wama akala saba, there is exception, except ma zakaytum. Okay, ma zakaytum. So here is a very interesting word. This is not the letter zay from which zakat comes. Okay, so I want you to remember this is zal. So this one, the meaning of zakka yuzakki, tazkiya with the zal. It's not zay. I'm not saying zakka yuzakki tazkiya. That is very different word. That is zakat is actually to purify, to make something grow. Zakka yuzakki tazkiya is to slaughter. Okay, so this is to this you are saying the name of Allah, and then you are slaughtering that particular animal completely properly. You are mentioning the name of Allah. You are making the animal to bleed, to make the blood flow. That particular animal, that we you can eat, right? After slaughtering them properly. So how do we know that this, the animal is alive or not? So here is the few things. So the one of them is very easy. The animal is moving. So if the cat has, essentially like something in the mouth, which is like, that particular chicken, if you catch the chicken before the chicken dies, it's not a maita at that time. It's alive. So that particular chicken that you are able to grab, and then you're able to slaughter, saying the name of Allah, then that chicken you can eat. Okay, so this is an exception to that. It's not a dead chicken. Again, I want to remind you, it's not a dead chicken you're talking about. You're talking about the chicken which is still in the mouth of that particular cat, and then then you are able to reach there, and you are able to zakaitum, meaning you are able to slaughter it properly, and then you can consume. So the one thing is, the first thing is that chicken is, that particular chicken is moving, right? So that means that it's not, the ruh is still in there. Second important thing is, if you reach there, you cut that animal and the blood came out, that animal, that is a time period, or that at that point, if the blood, there is a gush of blood coming out, then we can say this is, uh, again, this is something which is going to tell us this animal is still alive. So that point, you are going to include that in the halal list, not in the haram one. Okay. So here is the important thing about there are like in the slaughterhouses. So what do they do in the slaughterhouses? I want to remind you. So what is being done in those houses is, the animals are essentially electrocuted, or like they're stunned, right? So they are given this type of a shock, and then after once they're given that, then they are through the machines, they are like boom 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 boom, meaning one after another. So they just go in one lane, and they just slaughter like all of them in one go. So then there comes the two opinions of scholars. What do I mean by that? Some of the scholars say, as some of the animals, they might die with the with this electric shock, so they are not halal. Okay, so they say, so these are not the halal animals. So there are two opinions. One of them is, when you actually electrically electrocute an animal, then that animal may have died. So you cannot eat that one. Others say, okay, so if even they die, so even if they die, the time period between them getting slaughtered and this electric shock is so small that the blood is going to come out, so they are allowed to be eaten. Okay. Best way is actually to use a knife and to slaughter the animal, but I'm talking about the slaughterhouses where you are seeing this machine, big machines being used to slaughter them. Okay, so just something that is very, if you hear about this thing, these are the two opinions. The one is, as they already are, some of them might have died, you don't know which one, so you are not allowed to eat them, whether you say the name of Allah and you're doing all the good things, but still not allowed. And the second one is, as the time period, if even they are like they die, but the time period between slaughter time and their death is so small, the blood is going to come out. Again, I'm talking about the conditions are fulfilled, meaning the Muslim is doing it, saying the name of Allah, and then you are you are slaughtering these animals. So that is allowed. Okay. Then is another category which is wama zubiha alan nusubi. So the ones which were slaughtered. Nusubi is actually the idols, meaning there are people are taking the animals to the like specific place, the special places where they are slaughtering these animals. And again, the concept of okay, you are associating partners with Allah comes in, right? So these are the nusub, the one the is the essentially the word is nusub is actually the plural for the word nusab, and they're the fixed idols, right? So they, meaning the idols are fixed for the worship. So when you, that's the bias to fits. So when you are going there and doing it there, essentially you are, whether you are saying bismillah, your animal is a halal animal, and you are meeting the criteria, you are using the sharp knife, whatever you do, that animal is being slaughtered for someone other than Allah, and the name use of someone, some entity other than Allah, not allowed. So that is also hurrimat alaykum. Okay. And then comes the another category, which is wa an tastaqsimu bil azlam. Wa an tastaqsimu. Kisma is a root letter. Qasama is a root letter, right? Kisma word is actually division. We may have heard this word. Remember when we were doing the inheritance, that if there's somebody comes at the time of division, what to do with them? Don't talk them to them badly, and give them something. So kisma is the division, meaning you actually seek the division of the meat or that particular animal. Bil azlam. Azlam is a plural of the word zalm. Okay, so this is the plural of the word zalm or zulm. Okay, so these are actually essentially the small arrows. Okay, so these are the small arrows without, they don't have a head or a feather. So these are the, meaning they're just like a small sticks. Okay, so these are the small sticks. They're mostly that, they are, you're using you use them for gambling. Okay, so if your arrow is supposed to hit, like, this particular thing, okay, you won that particular part of the meat, that is not allowed. Okay, so that particular meat which you are going to eat by using this means, meaning by use of the arrow or by gambling, or by, there can be different ways of gambling, meaning just imagine you are actually using the dice, or you're using the chip or the money, and any kind of the non-halal way of getting that meat, that is not allowed. And there is another opinion about this particular part of ayah where it is mentioned that, when you actually are asking for your, somebody to find out the fate. So meaning you are using the arrows to, to find out your, like, for seeking decisions, for other purposes, that is not allowed. Okay. But as it is, when we would talk about, based on the context of the ayah, it would make more sense if you keep meat in mind for this part of ayah too. Okay. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning zalikum, oh you all, this is bad. Again, subhanallah, this all list is given to us for a reason, right? So there is a reason for that. I want to bring one important thing here. You may hear some people saying, you just say the name of Allah and eat. Okay, you may hear this concept too, that you need to say the name of Allah, whether that is, if you are, just imagine you are in USA, and whatever kind of meat that is, you just need to say the name of Allah and eat it. And this is actually not right. This is actually, usually it comes from one of the hadiths where Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha was very much like, she was stressing out the people who are entering into the circle of Islam at that time. They used to bring some small little treats for Prophet, and some of them may include the meat. So Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha was little nervous about using that meat. Prophet, peace be upon him, at that time told her, say the name of Allah and eat it. Meaning, don't have bad assumption about people. If they are saying that they've entered the religion of Islam, don't question that and trust them and then eat it. It was not like these are the people you don't even know who is cutting the meat, how the meat is being slaughtered. This is not what Prophet referred to. Like Prophet's hadith is about the people who are claiming, who have entered the circle of Islam, and then they are giving the meat. Okay, so again, that meat which is like on whom name of Allah is not pronounced, that meat is not allowed. That is a fisq. Okay. Okay. Then comes a like subhanallah beautiful part of an ayah. Al yawma, today. Al yawma, today. Again, this is the Madani surah. Today, here it refers to what kind of yawm this is. This is the today is it is referring to the 9th of Zil Hajj. This is the day of Arafah. When Prophet is saying this ayah, the day of Arafah, today, ya isa alladhina kafaru. Ya isa is to lose hope. Yeisa, ya, Hamza, see. The meaning of this is to lose hope, meaning to give up. So, what is who is going to give up? Allazina kafaru, the ones who disbelieve. They essentially they have given up on your religion. Okay, so min dinikum, your religion. So, what is meant by these people who do not believe, who are essentially disbelievers? They have given up on your religion. Meaning today, you have reached the point where they know that you're not gonna back off. There were some points earlier in the prophethood when they were hoping, okay, when you if they are going to beat you guys up or persecute you or kick you out or do whatever the badness that they showed, at that time they did have some hope that you're gonna back off. Now the deen is so like today after you have you are completing you are actually reaching to the point that they have given up on that you are not going to go back. Okay. And as I mentioned, just imagine that you are talking to giving you an example, undergraduate student, right? So this undergrad student, he's telling you, okay, you know what, I'm going to go into medicine. So you think you have in your mind, like, okay, maybe this particular kid is going, like he's saying he's going to medicine, but he may change his major, right? And that is okay. People do it, and that's totally fine. But when just imagine now the person is doing a residency, so he's already done with everything. Oh, do you think that this person is going to back off? Maybe if there are a few exceptions, maybe they'll do it, but no, like in your right state of mind, you won't think that. So same thing is happening here. The Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning now you have reached to the point that they are just done. They know that you are not going to back off. فَلَا تَخْشَوْا. Don't be like afraid of them. Don't have any fear of them. And this is a problem, and that is the thing which opens doors for us to do many things which we never mean to do. Meaning, log kya kahenge? All the time, people are in your mind. Meaning, you are just so people conscious, you are so occupied with their thoughts that it doesn't even come to your mind mera Allah kya kahega, what does my Allah thinks. That is not something that comes to your mind automatically, because you're so people conscious, always there to please people, always want to be in the good books of people, always want to get their attention. So sorry. So I'm extremely sorry for that. So let's see. So don't be afraid of them and actually have a fear of me. Fakhshaw ni. So there are two words, right? So there are two words here. One of them is fakhshaw, which is you all fear ni. Okay, so there is a ni. Ya is omitted, which is allowed omission. So be afraid of me, right? So have a fear of me. Then comes al yawma, today, right? Today, the same thing. This is a continuation of the same thing. Um, Give me just 1 second. Okay. Al yawma, today. Akmaltu. Akmaltu. Kamala. Right? So this word akmaltu means that I have completed whatever I was supposed to give you today. I have completed for you all your religion. Meaning, deen to for like March today. This is after today. You are not going to be getting anything added to the religion, right? So this is it has reached its completion. Okay, so it has reached its completion, meaning it has reached its kamal. So we are going to remind ourselves we are not going to add anything then. This is whatever we are adding, and that is what is called the bidah, right? Which is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous sin. So because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has completed our deen, So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala further mentions wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati, and itmam means to complete, and itmam is actually to complete, meaning kamala. Itmam means this is a step next to kamal, right? So I have completed in a way that there is absolutely nothing is left. Okay, so there is no detail left behind. Everything is all mentioned. Okay, so this is the Madani Surah, end of the Surah. The last ayahs are coming here. So we have completed whatever we wanted to give you. Binamati, subhanAllah, and look at what is being, the Nemati is 100% complete. Deen is 100% complete. Which blessing is being talked about? The blessing of Deen. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning Islam as Nemati, his blessing. Okay, so I have completed for you. There is absolutely no way that that you are going to add anything to it. There is no addition is needed. So this is just like if you are celebrating prophets birthdays, or celebrating any other occasions which were not celebrated before, meaning in the time of prophet, are we trying to say that, okay, he meant to do it, prophet peace be upon him, he meant to do it, so are you saying that this, like, he didn't do it, and now you are so righteous that you are going to do it because you love him so much that like you have taken on this responsibility? That is not right. Deen is all done, it's all complete. Whatever is sent is already sent. It is again, and focus on the words that there is nothing can be added to this deen. Okay, ورضيت لكم sorry ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا, and I have I'm happy with for you to have a deen, Islam as a deen. Subhanallah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful ayah, subhanallah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions faman, and so whoever, utturra, meaning he is forced. Darara is a root letter. Utturra, darara. Darar is to force someone, right? So if someone is forced, fi, out of makhmasatin. Makhmasa means it's an extreme hunger. So one thing is to be hungry, but this is a extreme hunger, total emptiness of the stomach. Okay, so whoever is forced out of extreme hunger, غير متجانف لإثم, that he is غير, other than mutajanifin. Janafa is to incline, meaning he is forced to eat any of these things. Okay, so he's forced to eat. I mean, if he would not eat, then he would essentially die. If that particular person, suppose if somebody is in a jungle, he does not have any access to anything but these animals, and if he doesn't eat them, part of them, he may die. At that time, it is okay for him to eat, but the condition is غير متجانفا لإثم, meaning he's not like gulping on them, like he's just so in love with that particular donkey over there, which was Maita, which was dead donkey, that he keep on eating and eating and eating and eating. No, he should not be going for ism. It should be only to stay him, keep himself alive. That is in that case it is allowed. Otherwise, it is not allowed. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ, and indeed Allah, غَفُورٌ Rahim, always merciful. He's always, always, always merciful. And when it comes to his forgiveness, when he forgives, he's not always forgiving, right? So Rahim is a mubalagha form which you have seen multiple times. Rahim, Halim. So these are the Rashid. So these are the mubalagha which you see always is coming. But Ghafoor is whenever he forgives a lot. Meaning if something happens here, if it is okay, if you go back to him, if unintentionally, if something is done out of mistake, it is okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all forgiving. Okay, it's all forgiving. Then comes ayah number 4 here. So now in ayah number 4, what are we learning? Again, it is talking about the halal or haram. So yes, alunaka, they ask you. Who ask you? The believers. Okay, so then now the list of muharramat are given, right? So these are all the haram things. Now that they're asking you, ماذا أُحِلَّ لَهُمْ? Oh, what is halal for us? Right? So this is a very natural response. So you are given the list already. And now you're asking what is halal for you. So what should be the answer? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving the answer. He's telling Prophet, peace be upon him, "Uhilla lakum," it is halal for you, at-tayyibat. All al, this word al, this addition of al is signifying every good things, everything which is pure, which is clean, it is halal for you. So what comes in tayyib? Tayyib means which is, the source is clean, and the way that you are earning it, like, you're taking it is clean, meaning kasbi, like the way you are acquiring that is also clean. Every clean thing is halal for you, right? And this is very interesting. Sometimes, like, we naturally we will think, okay, there is a lot of like, forbidding, the things which are forbidden, there is a long list of that. No, just imagine, whenever, so just take the example of like, the liquid. So if you talk about which liquid, meaning which drink is not halal, the one that should come to our mind is the intoxicated drinks. Okay, other than that, water halal, milk also halal, any kind of the juices that you are drinking halal, from the fruits and veggies, they are halal, meaning the list of haram things is way shorter than the list of halal, right? So we need to focus on that. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning to us also halal. It's a very important part coming. Also halal for you is ma, whatever allamtum, you teach. Okay, allama, you taught, right? So you taught minal jawari. Minal jawari, meaning these, now this part of ayah is wama allamtum minal jawari, jawarihi muqallibin. This is talking about the trained hunting animals that people have. Okay, so again, it is being mentioned, the animals that you have trained to hunt. Okay, which animals you can train to hunt? They can be dogs that you may train. Sometimes they can be birds. They can be birds, the falcon. So these are the animals, the hunt of these animals you have trained. So this is an important part. You have trained them. If these animals go out and they bring for you Maidah, meaning these are, you are seeing your dogs are, you have 3 dogs, trained dogs. You train them. You say the name of Allah, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. You are going, letting them out. These 3 dogs are going to bring you some meat, like, whether that is that deer is, like, if it is even dead, that is halal for you to eat. Okay, so meaning instead of using knife to slaughter or to kill the animal, you are using these hunting animals. Okay, so meaning instead of using a sharp arrow to kill that animal, you are using these animals. So these animals, whatever these animals will bring you back, they are allowed for you to consume. Okay, conditions are, my dear sisters, conditions are, these animals should not eat from that particular animal. Okay, they should be trained to only bring that animal to you. Okay, this very important point. Meaning, if your 3 dogs are so hungry that they started eating that animal while, like, after hunting that particular animal, deer, that dog is also eating, oh, then that is not allowed for you to eat, because that particular dog actually hunted animal for its own self. Okay, so again, these 3 dogs that you just, let go of to hunt the animal, if they're bringing back any deer, totally fine. You can, as long as they bring it back, you're going to say the name of Allah, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. You're going to slaughter them, that particular animal, and you're going to eat it. Okay, so one important point I want to bring is, keep in mind, so if you release 3 dogs, okay, so आपने 3 dogs छोड़े हैं, जब आप उस जगह पे पहुंचते हैं, if you reach there and you are seeing there is a 4th dog there too, yeah, so there is a 4th dog. That animal which is being killed by these, like, 4 dogs, आपको, like, you don't have any idea which one killed, that animal is not halal anymore. Okay, so the animal which is halal for you is the one which is caught by your by your trained dogs. Okay, if there is any other dog part of it, or that your dog has eaten, not like he's not holding the animal in his mouth, but actually also eaten, that is also not halal. Meaning, what I'm trying to tell you is, with the hunting, or also the conditions, right? But the huntings are also the conditions. Okay, so now comes this one part again. I'm gonna go word by word. Minal Jawari. So what you have taught, Jaraha is the, like, the it's Jawari is actually it's a plural for the word Jariyah. Okay, so Jaraha is to give wound, meaning like there's an injury to you, right? So this is called a Jaraha. If there is a, the one which is giving injury, that is called the Jariyah, right? Jari is some file for, jaraha, right? So if like this word jaraha come, what can like sorry, what can be the, these are the hunting animals. You're talking about the hunting animals, right? So whatever you have taught from the hunting animals, and they are going to bring that back to you, meaning these are the bird, or any like any other animal which is like the dog, as I mentioned, then these you can eat from them. Okay. Mukallabina. Mukallabina is the, again, a root, like this is also plural. So mukallabina, kalaba root letter. This is not kolaba. Qaf is a, like the kalb is a heart. Kalaba is a dog, right? Kalb is a dog. Mukallab is the one who trains the dog, right? So these are the, again, the trained animals. These are the trained animals which are used for hunting. And then comes tu'allimuna hunna, you teach them, right? You teach them mimma, from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught you. Meaning you are, essentially this means, the part of ayah means that you teach them from what Allah taught you, meaning you are working on, you have worked on these animals to train them to hunt for you. Okay. Again, you are saying the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're letting these animals go. These animals are going to hunt an animal, bringing it back to you. You're going to say the name of Allah, slaughter that animal, and then you are going to eat that animal after saying the name of Allah, right? So now lots of times to remind ourselves, this is the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, fakulu mimma amsak. So then you eat from whatever amsaka, musk is to retain, whatever they are bringing to you, alaikum, to you. So they, whatever they are bringing to you, eat it, no issue. Don't worry, just eat it, right? Whether they are dead or whether they are alive, eat it. Waskuru, and you don't shiru, forget. It's an important part. Don't forget to do what? To remember, to remind yourself to say Ismallahi alayhi. Don't you forget to say the name of Allah upon it, right? As I keep on mentioning, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, and then you slaughter, and meaning you are saying the name of Allah 2 or 3 times essentially. So before you let these animals out, go out, number one, at that time. Number two, when you actually going to slaughter these animals. And number three is when you are going to eat it, right? So 3 times. So subhanallah. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us, wattaqullah, have taqwa of Allah, have fear of Allah. So subhanallah, don't make your own halal or haram. Think about Allah, right? And have its fear, follow the commands. So it is amazing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is good for us and what is bad for us, right? Subhanallah, again, the list of muharramat, so small. It's very small list. Actually, essentially, if you see, other than this, you can eat anything, right? And then comes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning to us, Inna Allah, indeed Allah, if you are not going to be careful about that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Sariul Hisab, meaning He's very swift in taking the accounting. You may escape eating haram. You may have your own excuses. You may have your own preferences, your ideas, your thoughts. Whatever the list is given, already given, halal and haram by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is the final list. Why so? Because al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati. It's already done. You're not going to add or subtract anything. It's already done. And I want to remind all of us, there is also a hadith of, there is by actually Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So when he heard this part of ayah, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم, sorry, دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي, he started crying. And Prophet, peace be upon him, asked him, what happened? Why are you crying? So this is the gist of a hadith. So he mentioned, so, and this is very important concept. So whenever anything reaches its, perfection, it's already perfect, then the next step is to for that thing to go to deterioration, and this is what we are seeing now, right? It's already reached there, so it is not going to stay there. There is no such thing that iman is going to stay at the top. No, it is, if not increasing, it is decreasing. So if the deen is already complete, it's already perfect, the second thing that we see and that makes sense is it's going to come down. It is going to take a direction in the negative way. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among the ones who make a note of all these things, who have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and who keep on reminding ourselves that, wattaqullah inna Allah sariul hisab. And also remind ourselves, we need to remind ourselves, keep reminding, fa inna Allah ghafurur rahim. Deen is very easy. We just need to make sure that we are able to stay calm and not be the one with the haram gun. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this knowledge beneficial for us. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una. And with that, inshallah, we'll be ending our session for today. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear sisters.